Yeah. Well,
I can't.
preparing your preparing your blood chemistry the way you did was the right thing to do.
And at the time of the loss that we had was very difficult. And I'm glad you kind of mentioned that because it didn't, I was so upset that I didn't even think of that.
Yeah. Well,
So
we don't think of that, and that's when we fall.
it didn't come naturally. Yeah.
Yeah, that's when we fall victim to ourselves because we don't really understand how our bodies work, and it happens to everyone, and it's something that can help you greatly. The the video that sent
I
you
just,
just before.
I just watched it.
So
Yeah.
Greg Braden is talking about how much value we put on our loss in that movie, in that documentary. And if you look at the video as a whole, um, he's actually saying all the same things, but he's saying it from the perspective of the Nag Hammadi text. He's saying it from the perspective of the Hopi Indians. He's saying it from the perspective of the ancient Tibetan tribes. See, they all found their way through falling in love with nature and themselves, and kind of seeing the world differently, which changed the frequency inside of them.
Hmm.
And that's really what we're aiming at here with the call that we had last week, and hopefully the call that we're having right now, is that when we change our own perspective about the world we live in and how we see ourselves and who we are and where we came from, that perspective can really, really help you every day in all kinds of ways.
Yeah. Get through like difficult times and such. You mean,
Well,
right?
yes, but it'll also help you in everyday life, which is really what we're striving for, is that everyday life improves for the here and now instead of just the problems. Um,
Oh, I understand. Yeah.
yeah.
I had some questions about that video. I wrote it down so fast. Okay, so my biggest question is how do you make love transcend hurt? Does that mean to, well, like when you've lost something you really loved, right?
Well,
I,
how you
I
make
don't,
love transcend the hurt
yeah.
is by knowing fully and completely who and what you are. Like if if you think that you're having a life and it's over and that's the end, then that can bring a lot of pain. But if
Hmm.
you know that you are an angelic being having a human experience, and that every character here comes from another source of existence where you will see them again, it's like this doesn't end. We just believe that it ends. Now, being stuck in a human body while another human being or an animal passes away, you're there's some sadness in the loss of the companion for the time being in this moment. But if you know fully and completely who and what you are, and what actually happens, then there really is no loss. It's just temporary goodbye, like somebody going on a very long holiday until you pass and then you see them again. So there really is no end. We just have convinced ourselves as human beings that it's drastic, I'll never see them again, and that's the end of it. And then it's not the case. It absolutely is not the case.
So is that what they're actually making calling hope theory? Like
Well,
basically?
With the Hopi tribe and the Tibetans and the monks
Yeah.
and all of that, they know that life doesn't end. Just the human
Hmm.
body ends.
Yeah, isn't that
So
wild?
so because they know that, they don't feel grief the same way because they just know that somebody had to go home early, right? they don't think that I'll never see them again. That's the farthest thing from their mind. They're just thinking they got to go home early, and I'm not going to see them until I get home.
Yeah.
That's the perspective, because they have the perspective of the true soul, knowing that we're just here using these bodies as vehicles to have this current time, but there's so much more to us than just this. And that perspective is really what allows the soul to come back into the body as well and give you back all of your gifted powers, because the soul can join you when you have that perspective and you have integrity and authenticity, meaning that you're a good person. You don't go around telling lies. You genuinely care for all things, and you have compassion, love, and empathy in you. And having that frequency and that perspective together in our everyday lives, when we're out in the world working, when we're out in the world socializing, and we have that perspective in our present awareness, it's helpful to everyone. Debbie, you have
Hi there.
you Debbie, you have succeeded in doing what Wendy did last week, where you're going to need to be caught up. So
Well, I'm still
I'm
trying to get it in my head. So tell it, Debbie, all again. Or do you want to?
I, I would rather make her wait till the end so she can watch it.
Boys, girl. No,
So
I was just about that new video. Did you see it,
yeah,
Debbie?
I haven't seen anything. I've been so busy.
Oh,
yeah.
darn.
So I texted you a Greg Braden video about an hour before the call,
Okay.
hoping that you guys could watch it or had time to watch it, but it doesn't matter, Debbie. So in
Well,
that video,
some of it. Oh, I'm
what's that,
sorry.
Wendy?
I'm sorry. Some of it was in the second in the classroom. He spoke about the Tibetan guy and the Hope
Yeah.
tribe. So
So
he sort of combined it all together.
yeah.
It was more
So
knowledgeable.
so just to reiterate, for Debbie and for you, Wendy, the perspective that I'm coming from is not from religion. Please don't think that it is. It's from
No.
spirit. It's from the spirituality of the soul. It's got nothing to do with any religion. Even though in Greg Braden's video, he was talking about the Nag Hammadi text, which is an ancient set of documents that were found in Egypt that have the oldest renditions of the New Testament, and has stuff from even before that from the Gnostics, okay? But putting all of that aside, um, the Book of Thomas in there has some very key things. He touched on one of them, but he didn't touch on all of them. And what Wendy and I
It,
were
it,
talking, what Wendy and I were talking about, Debbie, before you came on, was our true power that we talked about last on the last call. Wendy had great success with her operation because she had perfect blood chemistry, and she sailed through the whole thing. And part of that is a change in belief and perspective, but she also did the work of meditating and the sleep hypnosis and all those things, and she put a lot of effort into it. But
um,
what the point is about Greg Braden is that he talks about various subjects in the video, but he's really talking about all the stuff we talked about last week. See, we talked last week about coming from the perspective of the soul, having a human experience in this body in current time, meaning that in our everyday life, we are aware that we're an angelic being having a human experience. That's the very first thing. So he talks about it from the Nag Hammadi texts. He talks about it from the Hopi tribe. He talks about it from ancient Tibetan monks and other various organizations of spirituality. And what they've all done is that they've found their way to know that all things are alive and connected, and that, there's this light within. And when we have this belief of, being something more than just the human body, and that we are connected to all things, and we come from a place of integrity and authenticity, compassion, love, and empathy, all of those ancient civilizations that he's talking about found their way to the same type of perspective that we are talking about, that brings great healing, that brings great energy, that brings transformations in your life energetically, because of our change in perspective. And, the importance of that, goes back a really long way. But really, in the end result, and I think Greg, uh, draws the conclusion near the end, where the frequency of the body changes when our whole perspective and belief changes. And frequency, he talks about frequency when he's in the ancient Tibetans. He's asking what all these symbols are on the wall, and they look like sacred geometries, kind of, like those geometric patterns that can be made with sound and water and sand and all those things. What the ancient Tibetans say that those are, and the reason that they're all over the walls inside the temples, is because those are pictures of a vibration that works for you. So when you tune into the frequency that copies that picture, you know that it's really good for you. So there's a certain belief and perspective that we can walk around with that brings us into those vibrations, that creates that sacred geometry in our blood, in our chemistry, and it works for you. It gives you energy through the frequency and vibration that is created from the emotion of the heart and the blood chemistry and everything like that, that it begins to bring in all of your true soul. Like, your true soul can step into your body because you're matching the vibration of the soul. And when the soul can step into the body and we're matching those vibrations and frequencies, then we get all of our gifts here and now. We get these extrasensory things. We get intuitiveness. We get, healing power in our hands. We get all kinds of gifts when we are in tune, when we're in alignment with that type of frequency. That's why those are all over the walls inside the temples. And he does get to that at the end. And, the way he draws it out in his big long story of all of the civilizations that he was talking to, you kind of lose track of the point he's making. You'd have to watch it 3 or 4 times to put it all together to
I think so.
the conclusion point. But it's actually what we are talking about. It's about coming from the perspective of the true soul. Like, if you can imagine looking down on humanity and seeing everything going on here, there's a lot going on. And because you know the story of the other side, you know that everything that's going on here is for a reason. And it's not necessarily as nefarious as everybody likes to make it out. There are lessons and gifts here, and we have a lot of both going on. And freeing out, our attachment to the loss, our attachment to the pain, freeing us from that so that we can live from the perspective of the soul while in a human body. So once you take away all of the pain and the anguish and the worry and the sense of loss, you can become very vibrant, knowing that, when you lose somebody close to you, or you lose a pet close to you, all they did was go home. You'll see them later, right?
Yeah, he told
Like,
me he told me he was ready. I asked, "Are you done?" And he did that wink, wink.
who did, Wendy?
So Maximus,
Oh,
the
excellent, yeah.
the night before, I said, "Are you done?" And it's okay with us. And he did the yes wink he does to us.
Yeah.
and then shut his eyes. So I knew. Jeff and I are trying to focus now on, because he was a funny, funny dog. He had a personality just crazy. So we're just laughing about looking at pictures and things he did and trying not to think that he's gone, that he's still with us in spirit.
Yeah.
And I feel a lot better. I still miss him terribly, but I mean, I do feel better knowing that it's not the end.
Yeah. Yeah. You can feel him in spirit for sure. Like when I lost the other cat that I had, Olivia, I could feel her every day for a couple of years, and even now, if I think of her and I picture her, I can feel her just like she's here.
I can
And
too. Yeah.
yeah, like that is because everything that we just talked about is the case. They just went home. We didn't actually lose them. They just lost the body,
Hmm.
but who they are still exists. So that's the reason that we could do that. And it's all to do with our frequency. Our frequency is everything. And that perspective, that understanding of having the body as a vehicle, and you're actually an angelic being, that changes everything when you really grasp it. Like try to think about it. What would that perspective be? How would that be? Because first of all, your human perspective is very narrow to being here. And as soon as you step out and join that perspective, it's tremendously broad and expansive. And you could probably just amaze yourself with all the things, but really what you want to do is harness that perspective for the here and now, because this is the focus. Being here in the human body and trying to find your way to your true soul so that it can be a part of you every day, and give you back all of your gifts so that life becomes easy and that you have the knowledge, wisdom, and power to help others.
And it's at the 7 rules.
I'm sorry, Wendy?
Is that the 7 rules that we're supposed to be working on to become harness our soul? Like authenticity and gratitude and all that? Is that
Well,
what you mean by
what
harnessing the soul?
what authenticity, integrity, compassion, love, and empathy do is that they bring in the correct vibration. Okay?
Okay.
So if you're an authentic person, meaning that you're not just lying to everyone, and you have integrity, which means that you do the right thing whether anybody's watching or not, and
Right.
to have compassion for others in all things, and love for life, love for all of the gifts that we have, and empathy for people that are suffering and need to be comforted. That's the foundation of a vibration in a human being that matches the soul's perspective. Okay, but it
Got
also
it.
brings in the blood and in the energy field the sacred geometry that is written on the walls of all of those ancient temples that the monks are talking about. You see it in church windows. Up high in old church windows, there will be a window with a sacred geometry. And that window was no accident. That window was there to express the type of energy vibration that the inside of that building is giving off, that they're trying to target. So when you see an ancient church like the ones all over Italy or Greece or whatever, and you see those fantastical windows that look like sacred geometries, they are. They are sacred geometries that when you look up the frequency of what that design is, there is a whole understanding of energy that comes along with it. And some of them are for good blood chemistry, some of them are for a wonderful magnetic field, some of them are for cleansing and detoxing and all kinds of things. All kinds of frequencies exist for all kinds of reasons because we're literally made of frequency. And when we start to understand frequency is where we come from, It's where we're going. It's why it's on the wall back here. Frequency is everything, and we can change the frequency of our bodies through our emotion for life, through what we believe to be true about who and what we are and where we come from and what our powers are. And being human for so long without thinking this way, we've got ourselves into a place of holding where we don't understand how to make it better. We try and we try, and not much happens. And it's because the frequency has to change. That's why when you newly fall in love with someone, it's a brand new relationship, you're head over heels, this stuff starts going crazy. Your blood chemistry improves. The other person is all you can think about. You look 10 years younger. You've just changed your whole physiology and everything's changing because you changed your frequency. I'm saying that we can do that. All the hair on me is standing on end right now. We can change our frequency, our belief about who and what we are, and try to live here and now in these bodies and include the perspective of the angelic being that you are and that you were before you had this human experience. And let it come in. Let it come into the body now. And then that frequency is what welcomes that to happen. Okay, by believing that there really is this magical power about you, and good examples are a new loving relationship, or in a situation where you got to lift the car off somebody, or you know all kinds of things that change our feeling and belief can change our bodies in an instant. And it's because we have the power to do that, but we can do it gently and subtly by starting to practice every day that we're an angelic being having a human experience, and we start to look at everyone that we are working with and interacting with as people that haven't learned that yet. And you are ahead of the curve, but it doesn't mean that you shouldn't have authenticity, integrity, compassion, love, and empathy for all the people that don't know, and all the people that are trying to find their way. Right?
Yeah.
So
One of my
what
friends is
what
thinking you really have something going here. I've been talking to her about it. And
yeah,
that's
so
when I want to see you.
what this will do is lock in the whole reason everybody's here. The name of this class is Inner Radiance and Self Mastery. And as soon as you lock in that perspective, you're done. You don't have to come to class anymore. You graduated. Because once you lock that in, you've succeeded to have inner radiance and self mastery inside of you, and you walk around every day with it. And the world will literally work with you because everything is attracted to those kinds of vibrations and energies. People want to be around those people. People want to communicate or express their problems and all these things to a higher vibration that can help them find their way to a higher vibration.
I
But
believe that.
it's actually for you so that you can live more comfortably, healthy and vibrantly, and have good things coming to you serendipitously because of your vibration. Because we are electromagnetic beings, that things are attracted to us because of our vibration. We really need to let that sink in. Everything that's happening in your life is attracted to you because of your vibration. You hold some value, or you did at one time hold some value for all the things that are coming toward you, or some fear of it. Right? Whatever energy you're playing is being attracted to you magnetically, electromagnetically. And that is also something that Greg Braden was leading to in all of those talks of all of those ancient civilizations. They understood this. They understood it very clearly, who and what we are.
It's really kind of sad because so many people are unhappy, and we live in a area where everybody should be happy. Like,
Well, we do, but it's a false sense of happiness. It's built up on winning the lottery. It's built up on social media and flaunting what you have and a bigger house and a nicer car and a corporation and all these
all,
things that you
all you
have.
gotta do here is look around and see how beautiful it is, and I don't know how someone couldn't be happy. Like,
I know, but the civilization that we are in right now,
yeah,
with the television and the radio and all the things that they say and the school system even, what we are striving for is not correct. It is to
mm,
do with consumerism. It's to do with having a working society. It's not necessarily about learning who you are and getting your real power back. It's about get a job, make as much money as you can, buy as much junk as you can, and then you die.
yes, it
And
doesn't.
have
Yeah,
and
it
have
doesn't
fun
go
while you're
there.
doing it. Make sure you watch all the entertainment and have fun while you're doing it.
Yeah, the older you get, things don't mean anything anymore.
That's true.
Debbie and I talked a little bit
Mhm.
last week about how important it is to have fun. And I
It
don't
is. I love to
it
have
is
fun.
important. It is important to have fun, but you find your way to having fun once you know who you are and why
Yeah.
you're here and what your powers are, and you get that all sorted out. Then it's easy to have fun. It's
Hmm.
really easy to have fun. You're not fighting to survive. You're not fighting to stay alive because you're
Yeah.
vibrating and resonating with everything that's going on. It becomes easier to have fun.
Hmm.
And bliss is a good word. Like that means that you are completely content and you know where your true home is, you know where you come from, you know that nothing ends, you know that everything that comes in your way that is a challenge, it is either a gift or a lesson, and you see it the right way and you try to find out what's needed here.
Okay.
Life becomes different. The whole important part of this is to try and get it into our conscious awareness every day while we're actually out in the world socializing, working, communicating, and interacting with others, because the light that we have and exude is electromagnetic, but it's also frequency, and highest frequency always wins in the laws of frequency. So when we're out there doing that, whether people realize it or not, we are lighting them up. They are beginning to be able to find their way to where they can have inner radiance and self mastery themselves, because it's the vibration of success that everyone wants. They want that content feeling, that vibration of success. Once I've got $10 million, once I have the perfect family and wife, and I have the perfect home, and I have the perfect car, I'll have that vibration of success and I'll be healthy and everything will be fine. And,
No, look at all those billionaires, how unhappy they are.
well, that's the thing. What is the real goal here? The real goal is to know who you are, find your way to allowing the soul back into the body, and start resonating and vibrating like the angelic being that you are here in a human body. And you can really light the way for everyone and help everyone, and they'll want to interact with you and all those things because of your vibration.
So, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Well, you were on a big speech, just making sure you're finished. Um, okay, so in this scenario, okay, so like maybe past year or two, I've been like extremely happy. Things are changing in me. I don't know what it is, and this is really, I think this is what I was meant to be doing, something like this, because I'm just really happy all the time, like nothing except that's a dog. I had a problem with that one, but so my friends say, I want to be around you all the time because you're so happy. And I said, you have to make your own happiness. Like, what do you say to people like that? Because they say this is hogwash
Yeah.
if you
So
start
so
talking
on
about
on
this.
my on my Instagram, if you flip through all those past pictures, there's a picture, and it's a cartoon.
Mhm. Okay, I've never
It's
looked at
it's,
it.
it's a cartoon, and one of the characters is holding on to a sign that says happiness, and he's happy, right?
Yeah.
And the other character says, "Where did you find that? I've been looking for that forever." And he says, "I didn't find it. I created it myself." And that's kind of what we're talking about here. Once you realize who and what you are, and
That's a good
and your
answer.
vibration changes, you've created it yourself because you've realized who you really are and what your power is, where you come from, what's happening when your life is over, and all of these things. And you didn't really lose anything. You'll see your mom and dad again. You'll see your dogs again, all of them. And the thing is that we've been living with loss, fear, abandonment, and pain for so long that we're so far away from our soul being able to step in the body. And our education system and all of these things are pulling us away. And as soon as you look at anything to do with ancient civilizations like Greg Braden was talking about, they're all going straight to it. They know what is correct. Just like all of those church windows and the sacred geometries of frequencies that are displayed all over the world in all ancient civilizations, because they know, match that vibration, you'll have a wonderful life.
And
And
it's funny that we didn't know that. Like I went to Mexico as a child, like Mexico City, and we saw those big churches.
yep,
I just thought they were absolutely awesome, but the symbolism, like I guess I was too young. I was only 12, but
yeah,
I wish I'd known that then, sort of, I guess, or
yeah. Well, that has really only been put together, Wendy, in the last 20 years, maybe.
yeah, I did.
I can't even say who figured it out first, but it's been going on for a lot of long time. And those buildings all over England and Scotland and France, Germany, Italy, like, there is sacred geometry displayed in those old structures all over the place. And it meant something. It's not just a pretty picture. It's not just a pretty design. It
Hmm.
literally means something very important, and they put it there for a reason. There was a era of time. I think it was prior to the 1800s, when there was kind of a geographically named area called Tartaria. And the civilization of that time was quite different. Everything was built with sacred geometry in mind. Structures were built to harness energy so that when you were in them, it was healing to be in them. They built structures to hold water that literally purified water because of the frequency that would exude inside the building or inside the vessel holding the water. We threw away a lot of good knowledge so that we could create this civilization of making money that we're in right now. And because
That,
they discovered that there's money in healthcare, they discovered there's money in this, there's money in that. So we want to take away all the things that go against making that money. Like when you can heal yourself or feed yourself or have clean water or have electricity without having to pay for it, then there goes all the consumerism. So
mhm.
we don't need to wallow in any of that. All we need to know is the truth. And the truth of the matter is that there is a very well established way of being and living for a very long time before this current civilization that we're all living in right now. And we talked about this once before, where there's Australia, Canada, United States, Great Britain, and a lot of European nations that are in this consumerism structure. Okay,
Mhm.
of a business model corporation of making people work, making them pay heavily, and never really getting ahead, so that we can always keep them working to want more. And that whole corporate model of taking us for everything that we're worth is limited to those areas of Earth. You go outside of those areas, everyone knows the old way and believes the old way and lives by it. And our civilization says they're third world countries and they don't know anything. And we're in an eye-opening experience right now where we're beginning to understand that the whole world, other than the countries that I just named, actually know what's going on. The ones that grew up in the education system around here that I just mentioned is stuck in this belief of everything that we need to do to get to the goal of life. And, our goal of life has been targeted as wanting all of these things, wanting everything to be perfect, wanting to be the richest, wanting this, that, and the other thing. And
Yeah.
the real goal is to figure out who you are, where you came from, get the soul back in the body, get all your gifts back, and live from a state of bliss with all of your gifts and things that you can do with your own two hands once that happens. Like we've talked about, being able to solve problems and by connecting to the Akashic records or speaking with other beings. That's done through the frequency that we carry, the light that we carry. It makes it easy for the higher frequency beings to communicate with us. It makes it easy for the soul to be able to step back in the body. Everything is about the frequency that you're carrying. Once your frequency goes up, all kinds of things can start happening to you. And what you should be
That's,
aware of
that's
is
pretty
that,
exciting, actually.
yeah, some of them are very fantastical types of things that would make you think, am I going crazy or is this really happening? And just know that it has to do with frequency. And the best way to describe this is through spirit molecules. Spirit molecules like DMT, dimethyltryptamine, psilocybin. When we take a spirit molecule, we can end up having that frequency match a spirit world right away, and we get all these visions that seem very real, and they are because you're actually seeing stuff that you can't normally see.
What
And
is that?
pardon?
What drug is that you're talking about? I've never heard of it.
Dimethyltryptamine is DMT. It is found in the ayahuasca drink that is all through the
Oh,
Amazon jungle.
okay. I've heard of that.
I actually took that spirit molecule with Rosalind. We went
Hmm.
to a retreat and did that on purpose.
Okay, I didn't know that's what it was called. I only
Yeah,
heard of the ayahuasca, and that was new to me.
yeah. So those spirit molecules take you straight to a vibration that makes the spirit world appear like that. And it's not like they're not here. It just makes it so that we can see them right away. And that is done through matching a frequency that gets you there. And there are meditations that you can do that'll take you to that same frequency of DMT and the same frequency of psilocybin. There's meditations for that will get you there without taking the spirit molecule.
That's pretty cool.
So when we realize that we're only seeing maybe 2%, maybe 3% of everything that's here. So what all are we missing? The spectrum that we can see is very small. If we could see everything, our minds would probably be blown, right? And
I
and
think I
the
think
same,
animals see and hear more, right?
absolutely,
Because they have
and
such a pure soul. Like Max would also sit up, and he'd be, on guard, and I'm like, what?
yeah, yeah,
And then a deer would run out in front of us. Like, how did you know?
yeah. Whether you're talking about whales, dolphins, cats,
Yeah.
tigers, every
Okay.
every animal has a spectrum that they can see and that they can hear. They're not all the same, and
Because they're pure.
some can see and hear more than others. And for us, it's very small.
Yeah.
We see and hear very little
Is that
compared
because we're
to.
not pure? Like we've let go and gone the wrong way?
No, I think we were designed that way on purpose so that we could have this human experience without seeing everything else. I think it was on purpose. I really do. So that we could come and learn and try to find our way back to being able to tune into all that if we choose to. And that is done by, bringing our frequency up and getting the soul back in the body.
Oh, makes sense. Yeah. Because it's a gift, really. You should earn it.
Well, again, I don't want this to seem like it's religious because it is not.
No, I didn't mean it that way.
Jesus was a real character. He was a real being. And, the key things that he used to say is that I'm no different than you. You can do this. Okay? And it's what he was alluding to was the person's vibration. It was about what they believed to be true. It was about
Yeah, because he actually tried to teach those 7 principles to people.
That's right. He went to school to learn how to do that. And he said that he went to school to learn how to do that. Like if we really listen to the things that he said instead of all the fanatical things that we blew out of proportion, the genuine little things that he said, he meant. And he meant it because he knows that once you find your way back to who you really are and you let the soul back in the body, you become what he was you become what he was doing. Like you become able to heal people by touching them because of your vibration. It's the vibration that makes you sick or makes you healthy. Like when we can match a very high vibration and put our hands on someone that has a very low vibration, all of the cellular biology in there will just suck up that electromagnetic vibration because it needs it. And the highest vibration always wins, which means it's pushing out the bad or just changing it. So
it
understanding
doesn't give you a headache?
understanding the laws of frequency. Sorry, what do you say about a headache?
It doesn't give you a headache? Like you don't transform the bad to you? Like it pushes
No.
out into the atmosphere, like you mean. When you
Well,
heal somebody, you don't take it into you, do you?
no, because in tune with the name that I call this business, Radiate from Within Wellness, you are
Mm-hmm.
radiating, which means everything is on its way out. Nothing is on its way in. You're
Okay,
radiating.
so you're pushing. Yeah.
So
Okay, got it.
you're radiating a frequency. Now, we talked about doing distant sessions on people.
Yeah.
Once you capture the aura of the person, the essence of the person, and you have them here, you have their field here. Electromagnetically, you've made a connection to their field. And then I am also connected to the field, but I'm connected to the field in the perspective of my true soul with my highest vibration, which means I'm radiating. And I'm radiating it to the field of the client. And when I feel my way around the client, and there's something wrong with the client's field because they have an illness or a disease or a pain, you can feel the change in the vibration in the tingling in your hand. You know that something is going on there. You don't need to understand it. You don't need to know what it is. All you need to know is that your vibration is really high and everyone needs that. So when you feel something that doesn't match it, that's where you hang out until it disperses and goes away.
Oh,
You radiate your high frequency on the client's field where you feel the imperfections, and eventually it will go away, and you keep going. You keep working around. It takes me probably 45 minutes or an hour to get around this table very slowly 3 or 4 times with whomever I'm doing a distance session on. But that's also a type of session that I can do on a person that is actually here. I don't have to touch them, but I can do their field either measurably with the tuning forks and pendulums, or I can just feel my way around it and I can tell where those imperfect vibrations are. And I'm in my highest vibration. I just hang out there until it fixes itself because it will. The vibration fixes it. I don't need to understand what the problem is. I don't need to put any effort into directing or understanding the change in the person. All I need to do is hold my highest frequency against their lowest frequency and let it do its thing. And it corrects the frequency for that person, whether they're here or not. So that's the power of frequency. And having that frequency changed inside of you because you now know that something else is true than what you've believed thus far in your life, you can now go out every day and interact with others, but just know in your deepest being who and what you are and try to be that. Like, think of how you normally are. And I'm not saying to change yourself. I'm saying
Mhm.
add the perspective. Like, we grow and learn new things every day. Like,
Mhm.
if you're terrible at something and you practice it, you get better at it. That doesn't mean you've changed. You've allowed it to become part of you, and because you wanted it. See, this is really who we are, not who we think we are. Letting the true soul in is just letting yourself be whole. Like, you become complete,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, I'm getting it.
Well, I think we've said it all in this video. Um, that that's the way to lock in true inner radiance and self mastery, is by literally knowing who and what you are, what your powers are, let the soul back in, and go out and interact every day from that perspective. And what happens every time that you interact outside in life, every time that you interact from that perspective, you're gonna realize that I normally would have done this, but now I want to do this. And every time that you do that, you are slowly going to get rewarded with vibrant power, vibrant frequency and energy, because you are climbing the ladder of trust in the gift of being a powerful frequency being. Like, you're literally living and breathing it so your power can come in. Like, a lot of our power is not with us directly because we're so careless. We lash out irrationally. We do things wrong. And if you had all the power that you could possibly possess and be like that, you could do a lot of damage, right?
Mhm.
So the power comes with proving that you know who you are, where you come from, what is expected of you. You have authenticity, integrity, compassion, love, and empathy. You have that. That's why you're trusted. Do you think that? I guess what I'm trying to say is that there's some kind of a system here that is keeping track of what we are genuinely doing and what we just say we're doing. Because the more you really do it, the more you really get.
Well, you know how they sort of described it as like a sheet, sort of, and
Yeah,
you're the blimps in the sheet.
yeah.
Well, maybe if you're not doing it right, your blimp is too high, and that's why you don't become whole. Does that make sense? I'm
Well,
thinking,
it does from a corporate boardroom perspective with graphs and things, because that's really what that's about. But it's an analogy that does work, yes. But
okay.
like, in this normal life that we have, we get rewarded for doing certain things, right? We go to work, we
Mhm.
get rewarded because we get paid. We help a friend, we get trust because we help someone. And we earn trust, we get trusted. all of these things are happening here in the human experience. But for the angelic experience, to really grasp that you are an angelic being having a human experience, and using that in your day-to-day life from the perspective of the angelic being, still being human, still knowing that you're a human and that you're interacting with other humans, but knowing where you really come from and what really powers you can have when you have that as your base perspective, and you start interacting that way and making better choices, everything starts to increase. Frequency starts to increase. The connectedness to the soul, the connectedness to all things starts to increase. And there is no limit to how far you can go. There's no
Oh,
limit. There's no
oh,
limit.
okay. Yeah, so keep going. Do you have any books that you recommend from Greg Braden or the Lipton Guide?
Well, there are many.
I do
There are
like to
many.
read.
You know what? You know what would be a good one, Wendy, and you'd probably really like it. Is
But,
Bruce Lipton wrote a book called The Biology of Belief. And everything about that book is right in the title. Because
oh, okay.
as soon as you believe something, the biology responds. And
I like reading.
it responds in so many ways. Well, he was an epigeneticist. Like
Mm-hmm.
he was a geneticist, so he knows this because he has all those years of learning and understanding how blood chemistry changes everything and how human emotion is in control of blood chemistry. And your electromagnetism and all of those things, like, he doesn't always get too deep into the electromagnetism part. He's very aware of it and he will talk about it. But his scientific prowess is in genetics.
Mm-hmm.
And he's literally witnessed all kinds of times in all kinds of ways how our bodies can literally change like that as soon as we change our beliefs and perspectives about life, about ourselves, about what is possible and what isn't possible. And The Biology of Belief by Bruce Lipton would be an excellent book for you to read. You'll love it.
Okay.
And
Yeah, I'm not allowed
I
to run
had it.
around.
I had it, and I lent it out to somebody, and it never came
Oh,
back. And
my goodness.
I'm just,
They weren't paying attention to all the authenticities and stuff.
Debbie, I've got one for you to read, and it's not the one I just told Wendy about.
We can pass them around.
All right, Debbie has a different interest.
Oh, okay.
See if you can read this, Debbie.
Holy love of God. Source field. God looks like it's brand new. Did you read it?
Yes, I did.
Yeah?
I've never lent it out though.
Let me write this down. Let me look this
So
book.
you'll
get
see
these
the
books.
name down here, David Wilcox. That's the guy that died
That's the
abnormally
guy.
not very long
Yeah.
ago.
Source field.
He was interesting, that guy too.
What's his
Yes.
name?
David Wilcox.
Oh, David Wilcox.
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 Cock.
Yes, I know David Wilcox.
Now, if you can read that book with everything that I know about you, you'll love that.
Okay.
We're going to be busy, Deb. I'm not allowed to do much for a month because it might pull the apparatus apart.
Yeah.
So, reading, I love
Reading is
reading.
good.
So, yes, I think I'll
So
get
if you don't want to read it, go on to David Wilcock YouTube channel,
Yeah.
and you can find that book with him talking about it in 3 and 4 hour long videos where he discusses the whole book.
Oh, that would be easier. Okay.
That is, and you can put it on and go to sleep with it, but you want to hear it consciously too.
Yeah.
But it'll blow your mind. It really will.
Okay. That's our homework.
Well,
Well, thanks.
your first homework is the video that I sent to you in a text about Greg
Oh,
Braden.
yes, I haven't watched, yeah.
Because really, what he's saying after going through all of those ancient civilizations and what their beliefs were is the same thing that we're talking about. We're just talking about it in our current time. How
Yeah,
can we how can we match that vibration every day? Well, the symphony meditation is the vibration of what is being targeted, but having the perspective of being an angelic being, having a human experience in your everyday life is what we want to do to prove that we really are an angelic being having a human experience, and we know it. And as soon as we can do that, the soul can come back in. Like, your soul was in your body until you were 6, 7, 8 years old, and then it stepped out as soon as all the trauma started. So getting the soul back in the body gives you back all of those gifts. And then we have inner radiance and self mastery.
Nice.
Yeah. So, but you at the beginning you started to say something about your friend thinking that you were onto something. Is that the lady in green?
Yeah, yeah, that's the one that at first was telling me I was nuts, and then I told her about everything with my operation and that, and she says, "I think you might be onto something." And I said, I can get you hooked up, or I can come explain it if you want to come over. So, yeah, she's starting to look that way. She says, big farm is not helping her.
Yeah. So I started this class with the science that was peer reviewed and repeatable for a reason, because people need that to have any confidence, because that's the way this civilization was taught, is that you have
Yeah,
to
and
have this you have
she
to have
has
this
none.
you have to have this correct training to put any value in you, which is literal bullshit, but that's the world we're living in. So that's why I went with the science. Once we understand that our emotion is literally making our blood chemistry for us, people don't realize how much emotion is contributing to blood chemistry. It is everything. Your blood chemistry can change like that. And it is because of what we believe to be true, what we value. Are we in fear? Are we, all of these things? Excellent blood chemistry comes from living from the perspective of the symphony. The closer you are to that, the better blood chemistry you're going to have, right?
Awesome.
And if we can also include the perspective of the soul and become all of that, then the electromagnetism, your field, everything lights up, and all kinds of magic starts happening like you would if you were newly in love and all of that. And you can just be in love with life, be in love with yourself, be in love with everything that's going on. You'll find a new way to love, and your frequency will change. Everything will change. Your health will change. All kinds
part
of
of
things.
that too is just loving yourself.
That's the biggest part of it,
Yeah,
Debbie, because you can't
That's a
love
big one.
anyone
that's
or
right.
anything or even life itself
That's
more
right.
than you love yourself.
That's
You're
right.
limited. You're limited by how much you love yourself.
Yeah.
So that's absolutely the first place to start. You know, you want to fall in love with life because you now understand it. When it was such a struggle, it's hard to fall in love with life. But once you understand how to make good blood chemistry, you understand how to, increase your magnetism in a direction that you want, have all of those things come into you because of your vibration magnetically. We have so much more power than we ever understood before. And it's all within us. It's our
That's
perspective.
strange, eh?
We let the TV and the radio and the school system decide for us what our energy and perspectives were going to be. Biggest mistake ever. Biggest mistake ever.
Yeah, where my mom used to live in Castle Peak, as soon as they had dinner, they all went on and turned on their televisions till
Yeah.
bed. And I like, don't you guys do anything? Nope.
Yeah. We've
I
been
was like, wow.
we've been being entertained for a couple hundred years,
Yeah,
to
it's
distract
sad,
us.
really. Yeah.
We've been being distracted so that we don't find our way back to ourselves.
Have you
We're
tried
too
to turn
busy. We're too busy to find our way back to ourselves.
Have you actually tried to turn off the TV for a day? No TV, no media, no nothing?
There's not a TV in my house anywhere, Debbie.
No?
Yeah.
Have you tried it, Wendy?
I don't have a TV, but I am guilty of surfing the net
I
and
try.
YouTube, like
I
Yeah,
watching.
like the TV
but
background noise.
once you know who you are, Wendy, you'll surf the net for things that vibrate with your
Well, I've
belief.
been doing that more lately because you gave those other names, so I was going through them and seeing what they were
Yeah.
talking about.
So that just becomes very constructive
Yeah, like usually I'm
instead of
watching rock
destructive.
concerts or something on YouTube,
Yeah.
Pearl Jam.
Yeah. So
But I'm
there's nothing wrong with doing that.
oh, okay. Well, that's what I usually do. Like I like listening to concerts from a long time ago, but yeah, but I've been going through the ones of the new people.
Yeah.
I found I have to start writing it down, and then when I hear something, go back to it and look at what to put it together. It
Yeah.
makes more sense to me. Yeah,
That's wonderful.
yeah.
Okay, so we're out of time again.
Okay. Well, it was
So
nice to see everybody, and
Yes,
thank you.
you.
I'm glad we got all of this out, and you'll be able to watch this again. But we'll try to get on to an expansion of more subjects with the next one. I'll try and let you know what that is, or if you find that you want to talk about this more, let me know. But otherwise, we can keep evolving here.
Yeah, yeah. I don't even know if you'd ever finish talking about this. Really,
Well,
there's so much. It's not a little subject.
what we talked about right here is the main target of this whole school class that I have here. This,
Hmm.
like everything that I've done prior to this was leading up to this conversation.
Oh, okay. Lucky we
I
tuned
wanted
in.
I wanted to start with the science. I wanted you to hear it from a geneticist. I wanted you to hear it from scientists like Greg Braden, and
Yeah,
you know
it made it more believable, the heart and brain connections and stuff.
and the blood chemistry and all of that,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah, it
But
made it more easier to accept, I think.
exactly, because you're
Yeah.
coming from some peer-reviewed, repeatable science. We've been convinced that that's what we need to believe in anything. And what I'm going to say is, I started with the peer-reviewed science, but once you actually do and gain trust by using this in your everyday life, and you start to feel that power come in, I want to have this conversation again because I can't wait for you to do it.
Yeah. Well, it's all really good stuff. It's not a harmful thing. It's in any way, it would be good for anybody's soul. So there's no
Well,
reason. That's what
it's
they
not
should be teaching in the schools, really.
it's not anything you
You,
got to spend money on or any of those
you
things.
never hear anybody say anything about empathy in the schools, or they just say you're not allowed to hit back, like, but they don't give a reason.
Yeah, they try to stay away from emotion as much as possible.
Hmm.
They also try to stay away from telling you that your body is completely electric. They like to stay away from the nervous system. They like to stay away from all of the things that they don't fully understand because they're not taught it, because they don't want it in there, because it leads to finding out the true story.
Yeah.
It'll lead to what we're talking about. They don't want that
Hmm.
because
Yeah,
it
obviously.
goes against the corporate model of business. Anyway,
Okay,
okay,
well,
so
thank
let's
you
say
very
good night.
much.
Okay.
Good night, everybody. Thank
Good
you.
night.
Good night.
Night.